Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and now let's chat Shokugeki no Soma or Food Wars Chapter 262, The Song of Hope, which turns out to be the song of many a people getting naked. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a stadium-wide nude event, but we got to see other things, I guess, like everyone in the cages getting naked, Rindo getting naked, Azami getting naked, not Irina, not Soma. We got to see, let's see, not Megashima, not Subaru, not Kuga. Actually, yeah, like a lot of people didn't get naked here. I guess there's a proximity thing. I think they like wasted an opportunity. We could have had a massive happening here, but it did not happen, unfortunately. Probably better, because I assume that if the student body was to go to the school board or to like some conservative Japanese government official and say, hey, our headmaster stripped all of us in a stadium because he was having a good time. I'm sure if they said that, that would be too much. I'm sure that would get Totsuki closed down. We'll see how Azami's thing works when he's in jail for some kind of gross misconduct. I'm sure they could apply some charges to him. Anyway, no, all jokes aside, that little bit went on for too long. Shokugeki no Soma 262. We got to see some equivalent of it. We got to see the massive stripping, and it kind of did play out the way we were kind of expecting it would, or at least I was expecting it. And anyone that was agreeing with me or that general line of thought, anyone who was agreeing with that general line of thought, that Azami was gonna reject whatever Irina was making on a basis of knowledge and not actual tastiness. This was what we saw coming. This was the basket that had all the eggs in. So in that regard, it's cool to see it. You know, like, what can we talk about it? What can we say about it? I mean, what can we say about it beyond Azami was going to be stubborn? He was a guy that was by the book that he wrote himself. So seeing him reject it this much, it was a given. Seeing Azami himself actually nudify, actually rip himself apart because he was holding it in, is a funny metaphor. And you know, like, guys, I see this supernatural phenomena happening here. One second you have Hisako talking to the guy, the other second you have her just being naked. I see this, and I can see the way forward for Shokugeki no Soma. I can see where food battles become real, where Soma eats a dish and it summons a giant fire spirit, and the fire spirit goes and burns the other person's clothes off, and that's how you win a Shokugeki no Soma battle. It says it's gone from a foodgasm metaphor scene to your food's actually stripping people. Oh man, how I dream for that day. Anyway, no, all jokes aside, you know, it's interesting, and you know, I do enjoy a lot of the panels here. I do enjoy seeing everyone being stripped, just because they're all losing their dignity actually in front of every person that's watching them. Megumi's stripped. Ishiki's stripped, but it doesn't really matter because Ishiki's a man and he can own it. Takumi's stripped, but it looks like Takumi's also taking a page from the Ishiki way of life, so that's pretty cool. And of course, Tsukasa, Rindo, and Azami, those three are they get humiliated. But you know, I'm really fixating on the nudity here. All things considered, this made sense. Azami's characterization in this chapter makes sense. It's interesting that they just kind of didn't do a full judging sequence of, like, I really wanted to see the 3-0. I really wanted to see the numbers there, because it would have a stronger pack for me. But instead, what the author did was pretty much, he took this event and he like wrapped up Irina's development for this arc with the event. So it very quickly shifted from Soma to Irina, although Soma still has some pretty strong moments here since his father is the one involved, since his father is the thing that Azami has in his mind. It's just interesting how they ultimately did it. They took away from the weight of this, shifted away from the rebels having to win to Irina having to save herself. I think that was very interesting, just with the dramatic impetus and all this. And when Irina says that final line of "it wasn't much," like, it does feel more or less good. At that point though, I think I was pretty tired of the arc. I just, like, that moment didn't make me feel as happy as, say, Azami's stripping moment did. That's just how I felt about it. Now, going into characterization, like, obviously there's some cool stuff with Soma and his mom that we can now finally confirm. But before that, there was something that Azami did that I thought was just one of the author's last-ditch efforts to make Azami really unlikable. And what he ultimately says to Hisako is probably the worst thing that he has said directly to a student. Mind you, he's done worse things to students before. Like, remember, he had that one student who he caught in secret with, I think it was the Skewer Society? That one student that he tied up and pretty much crucified? Like, as a sign to everyone else. That's by far one of the worst things this guy has done when it came to like how he handles the students. And I hope I am not misremembering that event, but that was horrific. That was egregious. That's not cool. But in terms of verbal abuse, Hisako being told, you know what, I want to read it word for word, because like, man, if there was ever a line that was going to hard push Azami into hard villainy, it was actually verbal abuse. Can you call verbal abuse villainous? Well, in the reader's mind, definitely. So Hisako talks about how, you know, she's benefited, she's in a good headspace, and Azami's saying, "What, you dare speak to the headmaster of Totsuki? You are but a worthless slave that scrapes the dirt off the soles of the Nakiri family's boots." Now, that is terrible. That is terrible in every which way about it. Because, look, like, Hisako's also a chef. In Azami's ideal world, what he wants to do is protect, well, he wants to protect the chefs, right? He wants the chefs to be happy. He doesn't want the chefs to be scorned. He doesn't want the chefs to have like these horrible mental problems the same way that Saiba has them. He wants to minimize the suffering from chefs, or for chefs, according to his manifesto, right? This one little moment turns it all, just destroys it. Like, it reaffirms that he's really only in this for Azami. He's only in this for Saiba. He only sees Saiba. He only sees a vision of Saiba that he's seen before, the sad vision. And then what he does here to Hisako is just absolutely disgusting, because also Hisako is responsible for Arida's overall health. This man is not grateful to this person who is helping his daughter, right? And not only that, the moment that he pulls the headmaster of Totsuki card, that's where you can really tell, well, this is where he is fully, he thinks he's at the top of the world. Because especially with the headmaster of Totsuki, having a certain degree of humbleness, I think, is something that benefits the headmaster, because the headmaster is one that can ultimately be changed by the student body. When you have that kind of behavior, that kind of line is absolutely dangerous, because that kind of line is implying that this person has kind of gotten a bit crazy with their power. And now it's just, when you read that line, Azami becomes more unlikable, because he's saying some pretty disgusting things that don't really go in line with his word for word manifesto on what he wants Central to be. And like, really, you like go through the chapter, and like, it's further proven when Azami can't believe that Saiba was happy. Like, at that point, that's where you gotta say, okay, he's really just far gone. He has Saiba on the mind. He is too compromised. And so Azami's characterization here, his character falls apart, because now the authors go and reveal in his breakdown what he's really got in his mind. And like, mind you, the idea of wanting to save the man that he admired, it's cool, but you gotta wonder why Azami never contacted him or never tried to find out what was going on with him. Oh, well, there's actually a pretty good explanation for why that happened. Saiba was really good at hiding. He went and left the life and just had a nice, quaint life with his wife and his son. So Azami not being able to find him makes sense, but going back into this, like, you know, actually, it's totally unfair to expect Azami to be able to contact Saiba, because Saiba was just terrible about it. But anyway, with the whole Saiba thing, it just does show that Azami really only cares about Saiba. Everyone else is just like a happy little circumstance. And when push comes to shove, he doesn't care about any of the people that his plans would be helping. He only cares about what he thinks is best for Saiba. And that leads into like the Soma moment, where Soma tells him, well, stop deciding other people's happiness for them. And so it turned really personal here. And this is something that we've noticed about Soma, but Soma gets really sober. Sorry, not sober. He gets really somber sometimes. And now we can really see it's when it's about his mom. So when we were looking back to that sequence on the train with Erina where Soma was a little bit sad, I think we can like say chances are he was definitely thinking about his mom. Like even here after he's talking about his dad meeting his mom, like he's still not happy. Like he's not smiling about the fact that his dad was saved by his mother. I think there is still a lot of trauma going on there. I think this is the kind of thing where it depends on what the author wants to do with it, because Soma's mother seems to factor in pretty badly into his feelings for sure. Because even when he's thinking about her, he's reminiscing. He's not particularly, I don't think he's particularly over it. And with Erina noticing it in this panel, I really kind of do want to see a little sequence where when it comes to how Soma's mother could be introduced into the story, I think having Erina be the one who follows up with him on it. Because Erina right now, if that moment on the train was valid as a Soma remembering his mom moment, I think Erina has enough narrative force to come in there and ask about her. And I don't think it'd be too jarring, especially with Erina flat out noticing it. Like when you have that shot of Erina right there in this panel right here, that's the shot that's telling you Erina's noting this is not usual Soma. So I think if we have an epilogue for this arc, I think if we have Erina go up to Soma and ask him about his mom, I think that would be totally reasonable. I would like to see that, and I think it would be a really strong moment for the two. You know, like going back to the question about, or going back to the observations about people actually losing their clothing here, one of the things, it's one of those moments where because it's already so ridiculous, it feels like the series is closing up. But it's like it's the little things like Soma's mom. And like now people talk about the blue competition. It's those little things that make you think, okay, well, these are elements that the author could keep in their back pocket and, you know, go forward and make things around that. Like we go into the second year and third year. But I really want to see how he's going to handle the Soma's mom thing. If the Soma's mom thing is resolved now, I think, well, that's an aspect of Soma's character that I don't think I want to give up yet. Just because it might signal the end of the series. But at the same time, I'm a hard Soma Erina fanboy. And I want to see the two have real, legit moments like that. So it's going to be interesting. Right now, with Soma, I see him in a place where he just got beat down by Erina. And add insult to injury, he got beat down with the most disgusting thing he makes, like the peanut butter squid things. And so I feel like that should be enough of a blow to his honor that maybe Soma will pull what Joichiro pulled and go off and try and figure out how. Like I feel like he could drop out of high school and go off into the world and figure out how to cook better. But even then, that's such a following of Saiba's path that I don't think we need it. Like at this point, I have no idea how this whole thing's gonna work out. I have no idea how Soma's gonna work out. I want to see what the author's going to do. I want to see if they can make things interesting, keep it interesting. But right now, we still got a few plot elements we have to work through. Soma's mother. We have to finish. We need a continuation of what Senzaimon was saying with like the Jewel generation back when Azami just joined the fight or joined the judging. And yeah, I think those are the main things that we need to see in the short term. But yeah, Soma, chapter 262. It was a ride. Looking back to the Regiment de Cuisine, or just looking back to the Regiment de Cuisine with Erina and Soma with this last little bout. You know, when we started this, I was thinking like, guys, I don't think there's any realistic way that they can just overcome the two upper years with just like teamwork or just their current skills. And sure enough, we ended up using the whole reason that this fight's being waged, the God Tongue. So the God Tongue being an absolute judge and it getting used like that. I wish I could have thought about that when I was first talking about those chapters. But seeing how they worked it out here, I thought was great. It was amazing. And there was like a little note that I forgot to mention with one of the, I think the last chapter is like when I remember Erina told Soma to just keep the food that she already like half prepared, keep it for lunch or dinner later. I thought that was a really nice little thing because Erina wasn't wasting food, because that was something that little Erina used to do. She would throw away people's food if she thought it wasn't good enough. You know, it's a little character development. Anyway, guys, that's it. 262. Those were the main things I wanted to talk about. Erina loves her friends. Azami was defeated, and Soma thought about his mother, while everyone was naked in the background. Guys, let me know what you thought of the chapter down below. Until next time, I hope you have a great day.